They are bringers of light and life to the world of Arda. Yet in the beginning, they were not so. These fixtures of the sky, so often taken for granted, were the result of the toil of the Valar and are driven by unsung heroes of the Maiar, including one who had refused Morgoth himself. Today on Nerd of the Rings, we cover Tolkien's Sun and Moon. In Middle-earth, the sun and moon are far from the simple astronomical bodies we know today. They are the result of a great effort from the world's higher powers after the evils of Morgoth. For in the ancient days of the world, the undying lands of Valinor were lit by two great trees, the silver Telperion and the golden Laurelin. After shining for thousands of years, the trees would be destroyed by Morgoth and Ungoliant in the year of the trees 1495, bringing all the world into darkness. In response, the Valar Yavanna and Nienna put forth all their powers of growth and healing toward the trees, yet they could not be healed. Nienna wept, and Yavanna sang alone in the shadows. Yet even as hope failed and her song faltered, Telperion bore at last upon a leafless bough one great flower of silver, and Laurelin a single fruit of gold. Yavanna takes both flower and fruit to her husband Aule, the smith of the Valar. He and his people make vessels to hold these last remnants of the two trees, to preserve their radiance. These great orbs, having the beauty and light of the two trees, are given to Varda, creator of the stars. She places them in the sky that they might become lamps of heaven. This was done in the 1500th year of the trees, meaning it took over 45 of our own years for these labors of the Valar to be completed. But there was yet a task to be assigned. For who would guide these great vessels across the sky? For the sun, a maiden of the Maiar was chosen. Arien was her name. In the days of the trees, Arien had tended the golden flowers in the gardens of Orome's wife, Vanna. She would water these flowers with the dew of Laurelin, and it is said that from the beginning she had a spirit of fire, though notably one whom Melkor had failed to corrupt. During her days in Valinor, it was said that her eyes were too bright for the elves to even look upon. Now, taking up her new duty of guiding the sun, she casts off her bodily form, becoming a naked flame, terrible in the fullness of her splendor. As for the moon, it would be taken by Tilion, a Maya huntsman in the company of Orome. It is said he was a lover of silver, and when he rested from his travels, he would lay in dream by the pools of Este, under Telperion's flickering beams. And it is said he begged that he be given the task of forever tending the last flower of that silver tree. The moon, called Isil by the elves, was the first vessel made ready, and Tilion would go into the sky giving moonlight to the world. And it is said the elves in Middle-earth looked up in delight, and even the servants of Morgoth were filled with amazement at this new light in the sky. 7 times Tilion had traversed the heavens when Arien's vessel was made ready. Then the sun, called Anar, arose in glory, and the first dawn was like a great fire upon the peaks of the Pelori Mountains in Valinor. And it is because it was made there that the very first sunrise came in the west of the world. Then indeed Morgoth was dismayed, and he descended into the uttermost depths of Angband, and withdrew his servants, sending forth great reek and dark cloud to hide his land from the light of the day star. Now Varda's original plan was that these two vessels would always be in the sky together. ever journeying in opposite directions, west to east, then east to west. However, Tilion was wayward and uncertain in speed, and he did not hold to his appointed path, for he was drawn by the splendor of Arien and sought to come near to her. He did so despite the flame of Anar scorching him, darkening the island of the moon. Between Tilion's wayward routes and the beings of the world needing rest and sleep, Varda changes her mind. She instead sets Arien upon the path of east to west, coming to rest in Valinor, then passing under the earth to rise again in the east. Likewise, she commands the moon. However, Tilion is still drawn toward Arien, as he will ever be. So his pace remains uncertain, and oftentimes both sun and moon will be seen above the earth together. Yet this was not the end of their tale in Middle-earth, for Morgoth hated these new lights, and while he was confounded for a time by this unexpected stroke of the Valar, he would move against them however he could. He assailed Tilion, sending spirits of shadow against the moon, and it is said there was strife in the great heights beyond the world, but Tilion was victorious. While he may have attacked Tilion, Morgoth did not dare to attack the sun, for he feared Arien with a great fear. For with all the malice he had poured into his own creatures and Middle-earth itself, he knew he no longer had the power for such a battle. As a result, Morgoth became ever more bound to the earth, and unwilling to personally come forth from his dark strongholds. He instead hides himself within the shadows. His servants likewise could not long endure the light of Arien, and because of her, Morgoth would shroud his lands in fumes and great clouds, blocking out her light. We would see this same tactic with his successor, Sauron, for the orcs hated the sun, and the trolls would be turned to stone should its light touch them. As with so many of Tolkien's writings, we see the sun and moon were concepts he considered tweaking, fleshing out, or outright changing in his mythology. We find this in the chapter Myths Transformed in the book Morgoth's Ring, where Christopher Tolkien shares some of the most radical changes his father considered while attempting to flesh out the Silmarillion. And it is within these pages that we find perhaps the darkest and wickedest deed to ever appear in his world. In this version of the tale, which involves the world being round instead of flat from the very beginning, Melkor did not immediately fear the sun, which was around from the world's creation. Instead, he desired the light and power of Arien, here called Arie, to be joined with him. Fair warning, this could be a delicate topic for some folks, so if you want to skip this, go to the timecode on the screen. In the text we read, "But Melkor, as hath been told, lusted after all light, desiring it jealously for his own. Moreover, he soon perceived that in the sun there was a light that had been concealed from him, and which had a power of which he had not thought. Therefore, afire at once with desire and anger, he went to the sun, and he spoke to Arie, saying, I have chosen thee, and thou shalt be my spouse, even as Varda is to Manwë, and together we shall wield all splendor and mastery. Then the kingship of Arda shall be mine indeed, as in right, and thou shalt be the partner of my glory." But Arie rejected Melkor and rebuked him, saying, "Speak not of right, which thou hast long forgotten. Neither for thee nor by thee alone was Ea made, and thou shalt not be king of Arda. Beware, therefore, for there is in the heart of Ars a light in which thou hast no part, and a fire which will not serve thee. Put not out thy hand to it, for though thy potency may destroy it, it will burn thee, and thy brightness will be made dark." Melkor did not heed her warning, but cried in his wrath, "The gift which is withheld I take." We are then told that Melkor sought to degrade Arien through ravishing her and taking into himself her powers. Then the spirit of Arien went up like a flame of anguish and wrath, and departed forever from Arda, and the sun was bereft of the light of Varda, and was stained by the assault of Melkor. And being for a long while without rule, it flamed with excessive heat, or grew too cool, so that grievous hurt was done to Arda, and the fashioning of the world was marred and delayed, until with long toil the Valar made a new order. But even as Arien foretold, Melkor was burned, and his brightness darkened, and he gave no more light, but light pained him exceedingly, and he hated it. While this version of the tale makes for a powerful reminder of the horrible nature of Morgoth, and is notably handled with language we've come to expect and respect about Tolkien, I'm personally glad this isn't the version in the published Silmarillion. Instead, within its pages, we see the sun and moon, giving their light to Middle-earth through the ages of the world, ever guided by Arien and Tilion, and revered by the peoples of the world. Time and again, we see people and important items named in reverence of Anar and Isil, the sun and moon. Perhaps most notably in the brothers Isildur and Anarion, servant of the moon and son of the sun. As always, I want to say a huge thank you to all my Patreon and YouTube supporters who make this channel possible. CCDC Red Team, Evil Chameleon, Tom DeBombadil 19, Lissamy the Cinda, Rabbi Rob Thomas, Charles Leisure, Joe Tepper, The Mighty Mim, Andrew Carlisle, Swirled Traveler, Matthew Jeffrey, Viking Lord, Alvin Einbert, Jeremy Daniel Derby, Madame Director, Freya Firestar, Chris and Meg Q, Leo Vittori, Sky Carcass, Slide Belts, Dane Ragnarsson, Berto Berg, Graham Derricott, The Dark-Haired One, Wyland, Kiara Berlin, Z and N, Evely, Kia, Landry Quinn Walker, Ice Glazer, Micah Wu, and Debbie. If you enjoyed the artwork in this video, check out the artists in the description to purchase prints of their great work for yourself. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on Nerd of the Rings.